Question everything for the truth. Should not be televised. And that's for sure. So with that, you know, I'm about to get ready to go in on this book right here, man. The New Jim Crow. Notice the hands. Do the hands look similar? Huh? Exactly. This is what we're going through. That's why I told you, sweet home Alabama, sweet prison Alabama. Why? Because you can't be 23.4% of the population and 54.6% of the prison population. That's not by accident, especially when you're dealing with a people who has a history of Holocaust, massacre, and genocide in your people. How, in turn, you are locked up on levels like that under mass incarceration, under their watch, who said they freed you under their emancipation and proclamation to mass incarceration. How did they help you? Or is it just another Jedi mind trick against our people to keep us in the position that we are in when it comes to being Aboriginal Negroes of America? Because at the end of the day, enslavement is enslavement no matter how you choose to word it. And that's just the reality to it. And even if you're enslaved in the position of ghetto slums and hoods, being deprived of resources for your community and economic growth for your community, at the same time, there is no difference in the connection of mass incarceration for those areas of poor, impoverished people that was forced to be poor and impoverished through generational poverty based off of crimes against humanity done to them. But yet still, nobody in a system of what we call justice today in 2024 under the United States government want to give us justice. But this is the reality of dealing with a system that colonizers have created that infringed upon your forefathers and ancestors and grandparents in the form of Holocaust, massacre, and genocide against them. This is the system that has been set up in the narrative of what they follow of maintaining our oppression and our suffering still to this day, based off of trickery, because the pen is mightier than the sword. So with that, I just wanted to look at some of this stuff, like how I was talking about poor communities devastated by mass unemployment, social neglect, economic abandonment, and intense police surveillance. These are some of the realities of what fuel mass incarceration. But see, people write books on this stuff because they know it. The appointed representatives know what's going on. The elite and wealthy know what's going on. The celebrities that come out of our communities that become wealthy based off of their talent and sign contracts with the colonizers in order to get wealth for their talent, they know what's going on. The presidencies, they know what's going on. The religious unions, they know what's going on. Even you and I know what's going on living in the barrels of ghetto slums and hoods. And at the end of the day, they don't try to change nothing at all. Even though the federal census of ethnic arrests from their federal census say that we're not the ones that get arrested the most in this country. The colonizers and their people are. Just as much as the federal census of hate crimes say hate crimes against Negroes in America done jumped 1,000-fold, but yet their law, their federal government hasn't jumped to give us a bill passed for protection against hate crime, knowing we're number one on the list. Do you see the pattern here about this fake freedom that they have given us that don't lead us to liberation or self-empowerment as a nation for our own, as our own people who can do for their own, separate from the colonizers' children who came to Holocaust, massacre, and genocide us, now mass incarcerating our people under this fake war on drugs? Let's be real here. Until we start to accept our truths for what is really going on that all the other nations actually know about, until we accept our truths for what's really happening to us based off of us not being liberated from those that came to destroy our nation, we're not going to be able to combat what is happening. We ain't going to be able to change our outcome if we don't accept our truth? How many of our men, now our women, are being put into these facilities and given background checks where they fight for the rest of their lives in the form of trying to get their lives back in order to be a part of society properly, based off of felonies and based off of different written up by the pen wordplay under the colonizers on how they dictate and manipulate their laws based off of what they say is fit. We all know that the tweed back in the day, in the 90s, all throughout the 90s and before, was illegal. And many brothers and sisters got caught with just one bag of the flowers, the greens, the collard greens. You can go to jail and definitely to prison. Today is illegal in most states, just by the swipe of the pen. But for all those that went down and went into prison based off of that illegalness, did they get that time back from off their backs after they swiped that pen and made it legal? And then put facilities up for you to go to dispensaries all throughout the country? These are the games we playing when we under a power that came with hatred for our people in the form of great hatred to take our land from us, stop us from reading for 200 years, to change our identity, all things and all places on our land, to manipulate us to a place where we don't even know where do we stand anymore when it comes to being at home. Well, my brothers and sisters, I would say get the book and do your diligent reading as well. Because if you don't investigate or research for yourself on the things that are going on with our people and why we are in ghetto slums and hoods and who's orchestrating it, manipulating it, and keeping us in a position of mass incarceration based off of survival work, trying to survive with no resources, no economic growth, and no reparations, you'll never ever understand why we in the boat we in. Freedom is based off of liberation from those that came and infringed upon you, bringing violence and destruction to your nation of people. Freedom is separation from that. Not over time through generations you get used to being under them. That's not freedom. Freedom is not going into mass incarceration based off of not having economic growth, off of a system that controls the economics and the resources of your nation. That's not freedom. This is a trick bag that we've been given, a trick bag that is putting our people into a position that they'll never ever be able to come out of again if we don't start to acknowledge that we've been duped, we've been had, we've been boozwinkled, and we've been lied to many of times over again. And it's now to call that card. It's now to call those chips out. It's now to point that finger. Because if we don't now, they say, when it comes to this economic destruction of all the immigrants coming in and getting an economic flow over us and help from the state, federal government, the United States government, guys, you might as well say it's game over for our generations to come. And with that, I just don't get it. I just don't understand it. But that is the question. You let me know. Peace, peace.